In the ancient annals of Westeros, long before dragons danced and lions roared for the Iron Throne, the North was a land of ice and fury, ruled by kings of winter. Among these legends, one name echoes with the chilling howl of a wolf on the hunt: Rodrik Stark, the Wandering Wolf. This is the story of the Stark king who did just defend the North. He took the fight to its enemies, crossing seas and crushing rebellions to forge a kingdom from a frozen wilderness. Thousands of years before the Game of Thrones, the North was not the unified realm we know. It was a fractured land of petty kings, where houses like the Boltons, the Grey Starks, and countless others vied for power. The long, jagged coastline was a playground for pirates and raiders, and the heart of the kingdom bled from constant internal strife. Into this chaos was born Rodrik Stark, son of Brandon Stark and heir to Winterfell. He inherited a title, but the respect and the kingdom, those he would have to win with steel and blood. Rodrik's reign was defined by conflict, but his first great test came from within the North itself. From their ancient fortress, the Dreadfort, the Red Kings of House Bolton challenged Stark supremacy. The Boltons were a fearsome dynasty, infamous for their practice of flaying their enemies. They saw the Starks not as their rightful kings, but as rivals. The war that followed was brutal and decisive. Rodrik Stark didn't just meet the Red Kings on the field. He crushed their armies, broke their power, and reaffirmed Winterfell's dominance. It was a stark message to every other petty king in the North. The era of division was ending. The wolf was the true king, and all others would kneel or be broken. But unifying the North was only the beginning of Rodrik's legend. His greatest and most fearsome tale comes from his war against the Ironborn. For centuries, the reavers from the Iron Islands had plagued the western coast of the North. They descended upon the shores, burning villages, stealing wealth, and carrying off women to be salt wives. To the Ironborn, the North was a vast, easy prize. They had never met a king like Rodrik Stark. Enraged by the constant raids, Rodrik did something unheard of for a king in the North. He didn't just build watchtowers or fortify his coasts. He decided to take the war to them. He amassed a great fleet of longships, a feat that alone spoke to his ambition and resources. And then, he crossed the sea. This was the act that would earn him his name. He became the Wandering Wolf, a king who left his own lands to hunt his enemies in their lair. Imagine the sheer terror of the Ironborn. These were men who lived and died by the sea, who believed themselves the undisputed masters of the waves. Suddenly, a northern fleet, led by a furious wolf king, appeared on their own horizon. Rodrik Stark and his Northmen fell upon the Iron Islands, particularly Bear Island, a longtime stronghold for the reavers. The fighting was savage. The Northmen, fueled by generations of pent-up fury, unleashed a storm of vengeance. Rodrik himself was said to have fought in the thick of it, a giant among men, wielding his sword with the ferocity of the direwolf on his banner. He didn't just win a battle. He won the island. He smashed the Ironborn fleet, drove them from their stronghold, and claimed Bear Island for the North. But Rodrik was not a man to simply take land. According to the legends, he won the island in a wrestling match against the Ironborn captain. Whether this is literal truth or a grand tale spun through the ages, it captures the essence of Rodrik's character. A king who fought with the raw physical strength of the first men, a warrior king from an older, harder age. After his victory, he granted the newly conquered Bear Island to House Mormont, who would hold it in the name of House Stark for thousands of years to come. This single act not only secured his western flank, but also created one of the Stark's most loyal and enduring bannermen. The Mormonts would never forget that it was a Stark king who gave them their home, one with northern steel. Rodrik Stark's campaign against the Ironborn forever changed the perception of northern power. The wolf was not a beast to be cornered and poked. It was a predator. This act of aggression, of taking the fight across the sea, was so shocking, so utterly audacious, that the Ironborn never forgot it. For centuries afterward, the name Rodrik Stark was a curse on their lips. He had done the unthinkable. He had beaten them at their own game, on their own turf. He proved that the North was not a passive victim but a sleeping giant, and he was the one who woke it, with the Red Kings humbled and the Ironborn thrown back into the sea. Rodrik Stark completed his life's work, the unification of the North. He brought the remaining petty kings and rebellious lords to heel, through either diplomacy or force. He established the singular authority of Winterfell, creating a vast, unified kingdom that could stand against any threat, from south of the Neck or across the sea. His reign marked the true beginning of the North as a singular entity, a nation bound together by loyalty to the Stark kings. So what makes this ancient king so important to the grander story of Westeros? Rodrik Stark is the embodiment of a specific kind of northern spirit, one that we see glimpses of in his descendants. He represents the proactive, aggressive, and almost feral nature of House Stark when pushed too far. We see echoes of his wandering spirit in his descendant Cregan Stark, who marched a northern army south to hold the capital to account during the Dance of the Dragons. We see his warrior's heart in Eddard Stark, who, despite his quiet honor, was a fearsome commander on the battlefield. And we feel his unyielding will in Robb Stark, the young wolf, who took his armies south to avenge his father and carve out his own kingdom. Rodrik's story serves as a crucial piece of Stark identity. It explains why the North fears weakness above all else. Rodrik's era began in chaos because the North was fractured and weak. He forged strength through unity and aggression. This lesson was seared into the consciousness of his house. A Stark who waits for the enemy to arrive at the gates of Winterfell is a Stark who has already lost. The true wolf hunts. He wasn't just a king who sat on a throne. He was a conqueror, a sign-vader, a rebellion crusher. He was a symbol of the old fury of the North, a king who fought like the heroes of the Age of Heroes. He was a Stark who crossed the sea, not as an exile, but as a predator. He reminds us that beneath the stoic honor and the grim pronouncements of winter is coming, there lies the soul of a warrior, the heart of a wolf that will not be caged. Rodrik Stark was the wandering wolf, and his legend is a chilling promise that when the North is threatened, its kings will not just stand their ground, they will hunt. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the ancient history of Westeros, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales from the world of ice and fire. Let us know in the comments which legendary figure you'd like to see us cover next. Follow us for more.